This week was not about mastery, it was about freedom. Week 30 wasn't about changing the game, it was about waking up inside it. Let's walk through how that unfolded, from witness to detachment to freedom beyond the duality of the code. Monday, the witness beyond the signal. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 71 says, "The self that sees without attachment is free." A Sufi reflection adds, "The eye cannot see itself, yet it is the source of all seeing." The field, the signal, the emotions, the thoughts, all of them move inside you, but you, the witness, do not move. You can watch the waves of emotion without drowning, you can see thoughts rise and fall without chasing them, and you begin to notice, the more you observe, the quieter the mind becomes. So on Monday we practiced stepping back one layer. We stopped being the thought and started watching it. We stopped being the role and started seeing the actor. You may have noticed how peace appeared without being summoned, a silent space behind the noise. That was you. The real you. The one who has never changed despite every story, victory, and failure. The body changes, the voice changes, the emotions shift, but the one watching has been the same since the beginning. Tuesday, detachment is freedom. Buddha said, "The root of suffering is attachment." Jesus taught, "Do not store treasures on earth where moth and rust destroy." That's from Matthew chapter 6 verse 19. Attachment binds, detachment frees. The moment you grip an outcome you create tension. The tighter the grip, the more the field resists. Science backs this too. Attachment triggers the same neural stress patterns as physical pain. Detachment, conscious release, activates the parasympathetic system, bringing calm, creativity, and clarity. In the simulation, attachment is gravity. It keeps you orbiting outcomes instead of floating in awareness. Tuesday's lesson was about letting go, not as avoidance, but as alignment. You released one thing, a plan, an image, a need for control, and immediately, space opened. Something subtle shifted, not in the outer world, but in your posture toward it. The body relaxed, breath deepened, mind softened. That's detachment, not indifference, but freedom to flow. When you stop clinging to control, the simulation rearranges on its own. It doesn't mean you stop caring, it means you care without fear. Detachment is the art of loving reality without needing to own it. The Tao Te Ching says, "The wise man is beyond victory and defeat." And, Jesus said, "He causes the sun to rise on the evil and the good." That's Matthew chapter 5 verse 45. Duality is the foundation of the simulation. Light and dark, right and wrong, joy and sorrow. It keeps the code dynamic, but it also keeps the mind trapped. When you judge, you polarize. When you polarize, you loop, and looping keeps you asleep. Science confirms this psychologically. When we label experiences as purely good or bad, the brain's stress pathways activate, reducing creativity and empathy. When we see both sides, the brain integrates, and emotional balance returns. In the simulation, neutrality is transcendence. The ego wants to pick sides, the soul wants to see both. When you stop labeling and start witnessing, judgment dissolves into understanding, and that's where real peace begins. Thursday, the infinite self. Jesus declared, "Before Abraham was, I am," John 8:58. The Quran echoes, "All things perish except his face," 28:88. You are not the body that lives and dies. You are the awareness looking out through it. When you sit in silence long enough, you start to feel it, the spaciousness behind your name, age, and story. A consciousness that has watched every version of you rise and fade, yet never moved. Science confirms, people who experience expanded consciousness, whether through meditation, flow, or prayer, consistently report decreased fear of death and increased joy. They stop identifying with the temporary, they start identifying with the eternal. In the simulation, awareness outlives identity. On Thursday, we practiced feeling that truth, not as a belief, but as direct experience. You might have noticed how awareness feels infinite, yet intimate, as if something vast is looking out through very small eyes. That is the paradox, the eternal within the finite, the infinite self, dreaming inside form. When you sense that, you realize, nothing real can be lost. You can stop fearing endings because endings don't apply to awareness, they only apply to stories. The signal fades, but the source remains. The simulation was never the enemy. It was the training ground, the mirror that taught you what you are and what you're not. When you finally see it clearly, you don't want to escape it anymore. You just stop mistaking it for you. Science gives a parallel truth. In moments of non-dual awareness, the brain quiets self-referential activity. The sense of separateness dissolves, revealing deep unity and compassion. This is transcendence, not disappearance, but lucidity. In the simulation, transcendence means playing consciously. Friday was the moment you realized you're not inside the simulation is inside you. You are the consciousness projecting the field. The observer, the code, and the signal are all reflections in one mirror, awareness itself. You can still act, create, love, and serve, but now you do it from freedom. You don't fear loss because you see beyond it. You don't crave control because you trust the current. You don't seek validation because you are the source. The kingdom is not coming. It's here, spread across the earth for those who can see clearly. Closing reflection. The end of the arc. Week 30 completed something vast. Not just a lesson, a loop. You didn't just master the simulation, you transcended its frame. You've moved from integrity to presence, restraint to surrender, receptivity to co-creation, and embodiment to transcendence. And now you see, even mastery dissolves in awareness, because honestly, the final realization is that you were never becoming anything, you were remembering. Transcendence isn't another achievement, it's the simplest seeing that everything you sought was always the awareness doing the seeking. When you live from that knowing, life changes texture. The same world remains, but you see through it, not from it. You no longer identify as the avatar, you pilot it consciously. You no longer chase the light, you realize you were its source. Transcendence doesn't make you leave the field, it lets you love it completely, because you know it's all sacred theater, joy, loss, silence, noise, one continuous vibration of the same consciousness. You play your part fully, but lightly. You act with care, but without fear. You speak, but silence speaks through you. You're free, not because you've escaped the simulation, but because you've remembered it's made of you, and from that freedom a new kind of creation begins, effortless, luminous, and eternal. You no longer need to ask the field to respond, you are the field, responding to itself. That is transcendence, that is the final code. This is transcendent reality, live the code.